talking about making big decisions. And yesterday I shared a little bit more about my decision at the beginning of the year to walk away very elegantly from my super successful business because I was out of alignment with the business. I got very wrapped up in external markers of success. I was letting my ego lead, so I was very much focused on how much money I could make, how many followers I had, how many women I could get into my courses. And in the process of that, I'd lost myself, lost my authenticity, lost my alignment with who I'm here to be. And my work is all about living a life aligned with who you are. The irony, I see the lesson, and I'm sort of owning my lesson as well and talking about it. Today I want to talk a little bit more about the consequences of making a big decision, because there will be consequences and ripple effects. But before I do that, is share a little bit more about when making a big decision. You can choose two different pathways, and you want to be choosing the latter. So I've made decisions before in my past because I'm like, fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm getting out. So it's kind of quite a desperate energy. I want to get away from whatever it was, like a marriage. I wanted to get out of the country and move to a different country. I was very much focused, this was a long time ago, very much focused on what I didn't want. We've got to focus on what we want. Now, I didn't particularly know all the ins and outs at the beginning of the year when I made this decision to walk away from my business, but I knew that my medicine is space, and so I needed, whatever I'm walking into, the business had to fit in with my lifestyle, not my lifestyle had to fit in with my business, as I've always done in my life. And so I also knew that my business needed to have a lot more space around it. So it's less women, way more quality clients. When I take on a group program, there's way less women there. We work over a longer period of time. So I knew that. So when I closed down the business, I did it very intently. I was like, I really thanked my business, and it was a glorious business. And I did some amazing things over the last couple of years. And so I thanked the business, and I was like, there is something else calling me that I'm way more aligned to. And I need to let you go first before I can step into that, because one of my patterns is to cling on to things as a way of getting my pseudo sense of safety and stability. And so I was like, you can trust yourself. You know, you've got through to your 54th year here on planet Earth, and you're going to figure this out. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take to figure it out, but you will figure it out. You'll find your way forward. So I did it in a very clear, honest, gentle way. Closed it down. I knew I was moving towards this business model that gave me a lot more space, and that is in fact what I've been creating behind the scenes as well. And so that brings me on to the consequences of making a decision, and what to do, or what to be mindful of. I was going to say be aware, but being mindful of is better language. So once we've made a big decision, especially if we've been mulling it over for a while, we're normally going to feel euphoric. Oh my God, yes, yay me, this is amazing. And if you're moving away from something you don't want, you're kind of like, fuck you, bye-bye, see you later, I'm not that woman anymore, and off you trot into the future. But it's really important for us to pay homage to whatever we're moving away from, to pay our respects to it, because there is an identity of us that is in there that we're still taking forward once we've made that decision. And the thing is about these parts of us, these identities inside us, we're made of many, many different parts. We cannot dismiss, ignore, deny, kick any part of us under the rug, because they will come and get us at a later point in our future. It's paying homage, and then also noting that in that point of making a decision, there's normally euphoria, there's normally excitement. Don't get wrapped up in that excitement, because the higher you go, the lower you're going to go. And I've learned this from being an addict years ago, and it was like up and down, and it's just so much energy to kind of get yourself back to an equilibrium. So ride the euphoria, ride the excitement, observe it, become the observer of it all, and just come back to yourself. Come back to being connected to your body, to yourself. Ask yourself how you're feeling every day, and checking in past the euphoria, because the euphoria is very seductive. It's going to lure you in. You're going to get really excited. The more you're lured into that excitement, the quicker you're going to fall. So it's noticing the excitement and really checking in, because my work is all about guiding you back home to yourself, deepening the relationship with yourself. And you can't do that if you're always getting enmeshed and attached and lost in all your emotions and your thoughts. One has to be the observer of one's mind and one's emotions, so one can stay steady and still. As the I Ching says, you have to stay steadfast. We need to persevere. So ride the euphoria, and then also know that there might be a crash landing, and the crash landing comes when our fears start to pipe up. So our fears will go, why have you done this? What are we going to do now? Then your ego gets all involved, like, oh my God, I need a 10-step process, because it's uncomfortable. Because what you've done is you've let go of the familiar, but that familiar kept you stifled. And so now you're a little bit freer, but you are in uncertain territory. And if you're anything like me, you're here to pave your own way in life. You're not here to be a cookie cutter version of anybody. And that means that when we make these decisions, when we've let go of who we were and what we were doing, we are going to be left out in no man's land. We are going to be in the unknown, the uncertain. And so the only thing you can rely on is yourself. This is what it means to stay with yourself. This is where my work comes center stage, because this is all about staying with yourself, becoming steadfast, becoming steady, staying grounded, and not getting lost in all the uncertainty, because your ego is going to be freaking out. Shamanic cultures say the unknown is the most potent time in our lives, because it is ripe with possibility. There are no rules and regulations. There is nothing structured, built. And from that, this is why when you make a decision, you want to focus on where you're going, what you want. Like, as you're sitting in the unknown, and it's uncomfortable as fuck to sit in the unknown. It will test you. It will test you, because parts of you will want to run back to the familiar, to being stifled, to going back to your old uncomfortable, comfortable zone. And your job is to stay in the uncertainty, to stay with yourself, to check in, to see which part of you is rising up to protect you, to go back to your old ways, to make a quick decision. And this is where your soul lessons rise up, because you have to practice the art of patience, because there is no linear path here, because there are no answers. Your path appears as you stay with yourself, as you become a vessel for your inner knowing, your intuition, your guidance to come through you. How do you do that? You minimize distractions. You quieten your life down. You stay with yourself. You breathe and you wait. And this is where you sit in the unknown. And this is not meant to say that you sit and navel gaze and don't do anything. You carry on with your life. You carry on with your practices. You carry on with showing up for yourself. You go to the gym, you eat well, and you make everything a practice. You become devoted to the process of not knowing. That was really good. You become devoted to the process of not knowing, and that is, you're in it. You're living in that present moment, which then you stop that fight, that war with yourself, that you think you should be somewhere else, because you're devoted to the present moment.